This is Michael Orrell of MobileBurn.com, and today I have with me the Samsung S8000 Jet, the company's new flagship feature phone. It has a lot of cool functions in it, including a 5.0 megapixel camera with an autofocus and dual LED flash, a very large wide VGA OLED touchscreen display, resistive touchscreen, cool motion features in it, and a lot of good stuff, including the TouchWiz 2.0 UI, TouchWiz being Samsung's finger touch-based user interface it uses on its touch devices. Before we get into the other features of the device, let's take a look at the physical design. You can see here on the left-hand edge we have a simple volume control, camera on the back, speaker grill down here. There's a odd button here. Actually, it's two separate buttons. This one activates the camera. It's a two-stage button. Press it in halfway to focus, all the way to take the photo. And this one brings up the new 3D Cube menu system that I'll show you a little bit later. Also, which is common, this button right here is a lock button, which is common to a lot of Samsung touchscreen devices. Micro USB connector, very nice to see, and an honest to goodness 3.5mm stereo headphone port. You can see the very cool pattern on the back of the device. It is very similar to that used on Samsung's Touch of Color television line. I've pulled the back off of the device so you can see some of the ridges that make up that red pattern on the other side. Also, so you can see the micro SD HC card slot. Unfortunately, it means the back has to be removed in order to swap cards, but since it can take large 16 gig cards, you probably won't be swapping them out too often. Not much to see on the front of the device. Call send and call end button. Call end also serves as a power button. And this little control in the center is actually much simpler than it appears. You would think it'd be a D-pad or something like that, or at least linked to the 3D Cube menu system we'll show you later, but actually it's just a simple menu button. You press it and it brings up the main menu. Forward-facing camera for video calls and an ambient light sensor as well. We're going to unlock the device by long pressing the unlock button here. See, this is TouchWiz 2.0. We still have the same kind of widget tray we're used to. Move up and down. You can grab a widget, move it onto the desktop, grab it again, move it off. Tap the tray to make it go away. But unlike the prior versions of TouchWiz, there are multiple desktops to work with. Some of these widgets have live data, like you can see the local weather right here. Take a look at the main menu on the device. OLED displays look their best with black backgrounds, but unlike prior TouchWiz devices, we actually do see some limited theme support. Red and green. I'm going to take a look at it, preview it. Nothing too fancy though. But in general, the UI is quite nice looking. There's good scrolling, and it's really colorful. I mean, this is at the minimum brightness right now and it just looks stunning. Like the home screen, there are now multiple menu screens, so you can just swipe left to right to go from one screen to the next. Makes it a little bit easier. Things don't have to be nestled in folders and such. So it's pretty easy to find most any application on the device. In addition to the regular main menu we just saw, if we hold down this button here for a second, we get the new Cube UI. This is kind of silly. I mean, it looks very cool. You can move around and flip it around and do all sorts of things, but quite honestly, if you want to access the functions, it's a heck of a lot easier to just tap on the icon on the bottom here and then tap on the cube. You're not really saving any time, but it is visually appealing. You can see we can scroll through the games and applications that are pre-installed on the device. Happen to be a fan of this dice game. It's not really a game, but makes use of the motion sensors in the phone. It's pretty slick. If you long press that same button, it brings up a motion sensitive menu. It's only 2 items on the menu, but use a gesture to pick either 1 or 2 applications, which you can set to whatever you like. I have it music and camera, so if I do a gesture like that, activates the music player. Now theoretically, other gestures will cause things to start and stop and go to the next track. Like there's a double tap. Let's see if I can switch to the next track. I find it actually very difficult to control this, and I'm quite pleased that it's working right now for me. There's also a gesture where you shake it 3 or more times to close the application. There is yet another unusual way to access applications. If we hit the lock button briefly, it brings up the lock screen, and I can gesture a letter, in this case M, to load up the music application. You can set the letters to be whatever applications you want, so I have W for the web, M for music. You can also do it for contacts, so if I draw a J, it will call Jack Black.
The number you dialed is not a working number. Please check the number and dial again. El número que marcó no está en servicio.
Going to bring up the main menu by pressing the Q button briefly. I'll pull up the browser, bookmarks, and bring up the mobile formatted version of the Mobile Burn website. It should come up pretty quickly because we're on a local Wi-Fi connection. And now you can see another feature of the device. If I hold down the Q button, it brings up the Task Manager, so as I can run other applications, say the music app. You can always move back to the main menu just by pressing briefly, going back and forth. And I'll go back to the browser.